Hey folks, welcome. Another Azure Cosmos DB design patterns video. I'm Mark.
Hi, I'm Jasmine.
In this pattern, we're going to talk about another very common kind of use case, particularly for a NoSQL database and one that touts itself as being schema agnostic, and that is schema versioning. One of the major advantages of a database like Cosmos DB is the database itself and its engine does not enforce any type of schema in there. It's what we call schema agnostic. If you have a partition key and an ID in your document, Cosmos will happily ingest pretty much anything you throw at it within there. It's not going to validate or do anything to your data, which is great because it gives you the flexibility to be able to change what you put into Cosmos DB depending on the needs of your use case and your application. So how do you implement that sort of thing? Well, you implement this schema versioning pattern. And the use case we've got here is for a retailer. And the idea here is a retailer created an application and they created this shopping cart. So here we've got a cart class, and here you can see I've got an ID, a session ID, a customer ID, and then I have an array of these items that are within here, these cart items. And when they designed this thing, or at least this is the scenario, they only had basically these two properties. They had product name and quantity. And they assumed customers would just order stuff from the e-commerce site and just order it as is. Well, okay. When you go and you ingest the data into this thing, then this is what a new order would look like. So you have this new session ID, a customer, and then the couple items here that they bought, product 23 and product 16, with some quantities in there. Now, that's great if nothing gets customized, but let's assume this e-tailer realized they want to be able to handle a situation where the customer wants to modify it. They want to customize the product they build within here. So how would you handle this sort of thing? Well, in our scenario, in our application here, we made a bit of changes. So we've got this new class called cart with version in here, and we implemented one new property, and that's the schema version within here. And this allows your code to be able to detect what entity is being dealt with in here. Is it your original one or maybe a new one? And then what version of that new one? And this allows your code to be able to react and handle and validate or do whatever it needs to with the new data, the new updated entity within your application. So we have the schema version change within the cart with version object here. And then we have it updated with the list. So now we have cart item with special order array, not just the cart item array. And then we took and built a new class that we derived from our base cart item here, and that's cart item with special order. And here you can see it's just got two properties, a Boolean on is this a special order, and then a string, nullable string for special order notes. So what do you want to do? You want to customize this thing in here. So what's our new data look like? Well, here we have a shopping cart item here. You can see the schema version here. The ID, session ID, customer ID is all the same. And then within the items array, it's not just that product or that original item array. It's now our special order item array. And here you can see, is this thing customized or not? And not everything, of course, is going to be customized. So you need a property in here. That's the is special order. And that's going to be true or false within here. And then if it is true, of course, then you would have some kind of notes in here, like we're going to do something special with product number 22 within here. So that's kind of how that thing works, with the design that we implemented in here. To show you how to do this. Go through some more things in here. Not much more to show you in here, just a little bit of code to show you how you check and bring that in with here. And then you can just see within there, I can do, has the special orders, and then just do this function here, is special order true, and then get a count on there. And we'll see that within our little web app. So with this one here, we're going to run this thing in a GitHub code space. So I've got a little code space I've set up here, and there's two pieces to this. We have a data generator that's going to generate a bunch of orders on our shopping cart, and those will be regular orders that are non-customized, and then we'll show the new version, the version schema 2, that will have the customized orders and uncustomized orders within the application. And then we have a website. We'll go and show what all that looks like. So I've got my code space open here. I've got a couple of terminals. This one's set for the data generator. So let's go ahead and we'll just do .NET run on this thing. And this thing's going to ask me how many items I want to go and generate. And we'll go and we'll create 10 items or 10 orders within our carts here. And that's that. It's just jammed a bunch of stuff into Cosmos DB. Let's go into our other terminal here. This one is set up for the website, and we'll do .NET Run on this one. And let this guy build, and he's going to want to open up Kestrel. And there we go. Open up a browser within here. And within here, we should see the orders for the customers that came in. So here, this order for customer 959, just a regular order. They ordered 3 products with 3 quantities in here. Same with this customer and this customer and this customer. Let's scroll down a little further here. And here you can see, so here's schema version 2, right? And then you can see this customer 325, he just did a regular order in here. That's fine. This one, customer 216, he did a custom order, or she did a custom order, or whatever, what pronoun I use here. But there's a custom order for this one here, schema version 2, regular order, custom order, you can see within here. So this application will happily handle whichever scenario. So if it's, you start with the original version here that we had up on top, we created some orders in here, and then we adjusted our schema and then started creating new orders that were either non-customized or customized for the application in here. And this thing works just great. You can go and you can apply this kind of pattern to anything. What's really important is that you have the schema version within there so that your application code knows how to react to it. And then basically can use the right models, the right objects within your classes to be able to create those new orders. Of course, also just to be able to show them on your website here. So pretty cool, I'd say, and really not hard to implement, and really takes advantage of kind of that schema agnostic nature of Cosmos DB. What do you think, Jasmine? You think that's a cool scenario?
I do. I really do. One thing that came to mind was, and this is probably a little funny, is that I could see someone considering maybe I should just use the date. Like, after a certain time, we have this additional feature and we apply and we say, then the schema changes after the state. But that could be kind of ineffective, wouldn't it?
Well, what if you had multiple schema versions that had to coexist? Like that wouldn't work, would it?
Mm-hmm.
Like you'd be stuck at that point. I think this is great in that it allows you the ultimate flexibility. You don't have to, let's say you wanted to upgrade your systems to use this new schema version, but not all of them could be upgraded at the same time. Like you couldn't use something like a date because that's basically like a hard cutover. Or what if you needed to go back and look at older versions of data and stuff like that? You still couldn't use the date in there. So you really need that version ID to really tell you which API version to use or which schema version. I mean, it's basically like an API version, but it's the same idea, right? You've updated your schema. You really are updating your API as well.
Yes, it's super clear and explicit here and using this particular pattern for sure.
Yep. Well, hey, folks, we hope you really like this design pattern. Again, you can go and get these over on GitHub at github.com/azure-samples /cosmos-db-design-patterns. Just rolls right off the tongue. All right. Thanks for joining us. I hope you'll watch more of our Cosmos DB design pattern series. Thanks for coming.